This is the Angels Postcast, your instant game reaction for the Los Angeles Angels. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hello, Halo Nation. Hello, Halo hopefuls, and welcome back to the latest edition of the Locked On Angels Postcast. Coming at you live, as always, after every single Angels game, right here on the Locked On Angels YouTube channel, and after the fact, both on the channel and wherever you get the Locked On Angels audio podcast feed. If you don't know who I am, what's going on, everybody? My name is Gavin Carlson, former credential journalist in the LA area. Spent 4 years covering UCLA sports with the Daily Bruin, repping the UCLA shirt here today on a very special day for UCLA and all of baseball. It's Jackie Robinson Day. If you don't know why the heck I'm referencing my Bruins, of course, Jackie Robinson was a Bruin before he was a Dodger, before he was the great man that he was, or in the process of being the great man that he was. But on this Jackie Robinson Day, the Angels did not celebrate his legacy, and they really just put forth one of the most, frustrating and boring performances of the season. A 4-0 loss in Texas, the series opener against the Rangers. A lot to talk about in this one, despite it being one of those games where, if some of the loyal people from last year remember, there was a couple games where I pulled out the pillow. I was pretty convinced I was gonna do it today, but I decided, let's not disrespect this team quite yet. They being the Angels have still had a good enough start to the year where we don't deserve the pillows quite yet. But this was very similar to a lot of the losses we had last season, where it felt like you didn't even need to watch the darn baseball game. And that's what's frustrating, right? The number one thing with this team that we want to see is competitive baseball. Obviously, it's a rebuild, but it's a rebuild that's looking like it has some encouraging signs that it's going to be maybe a little bit quicker than some people are expecting. Maybe you can win at least 50% of your games this year. Maybe you can, dare I say, have a chance to compete for a playoff spot. But at the very least, it was feeling like this was an exciting team, which it wasn't last year. Hitting a bunch of home runs, having guys that can do stuff on the bases, having rallies, having comebacks, having all these flamethrowers in the bullpen, all of that. But today felt a lot like last year, where you didn't need to watch this darn baseball game. This was like last year, where you could have closed your eyes, saw the final score, and known exactly what happened. 4-0, right? You see 4-0 last year. What would you predict? The starter pitched amazing. Ron Washington maybe made a questionable decision about when to take the starter out. The bullpen gave up a couple runs, and it didn't really matter because the offense did absolutely nothing. Well, bingo, that's what we got on Tuesday night. And it's frustrating because we haven't had that this season. And coming off a day off, I thought there was going to be some life. I thought, you only scored a couple runs on Sunday. We had that great solo HR debate. The Angels had a game where they hit 3 solo shots, but other than that, it was really concerning at-bats. 16 strikeouts, 0 walks, horrible at-bats from Joe Adell and Mike Trout and others. How would this team respond? A team that we have given a lot of credit all season so far, me in particular, saying this team has been all about resilience and response and falling behind early in games, but then coming back in the Cardinals series, having multiple games where you go ahead in the 10th and then blow the lead in the 10th and then go ahead in the 11th, right? Late inning runs, late inning rallies, Karen Parrish doing it in the clutch. But today, no life. No resilience, no response to your first series loss over the weekend in Houston, no response to having a day off yesterday, being fresh coming into today, and no response, no backing up for Yusei Kikuchi, who has his great start, finally a ace-like start for the Angels. Absolutely no help for him. And as you probably saw the thumbnail in this video, I'm very critical of Ron Washington today. So I didn't even say before I get into this one, shout out to everybody in here. It's been nice in the sense that I haven't had to go on rants and be frustrated, whether it's been all the exciting wins or the close losses and the takeaways and everything, being more analytical with the post-game show, having, analysis and not just emotion. But today was frustrating, man, because the Angels in so many ways looked like the Angels last year. Everything. Just 5 hits. No life in the second half of the ballgame. Once they fell behind, they had no signs of coming back. 3 errors, another 11 strikeouts, and brutal at-bats we're going to get into Ron Washington because that was the thumbnail, very critical of his decisions at times in this game. But in my opinion, we have to start with what I thought set the trend, set the standard for this being a frustrating game. And that being, in the fourth inning, we had our turning point.
Time to reveal where the game was won or lost. It's the turning point.
It's the top of the fourth inning with the Angels up to bat because in the first three innings, not much going on. Angels go 1-2-3 in the top of the first. Rangers go 1-2-3 in the bottom of the first. Halos get one guy on base via a Jorge Soler walk in the second. The Rangers get one guy on base via Kevin Pillar double. 1-2-3 third for both teams. And then we get to the top of the fourth. Really, nothing has happened. Yusei Kikuchi's been phenomenal. Their starting pitcher, he was phenomenal as well. I mean, he's had a start. 3-0. The ERA now sub-1 for him. Was striking out just about everybody. But in the top of the fourth, the Angels had their shot. Despite a Luis Rengifo strikeout. Getting called out on strikes, which is really frustrating me that we keep getting called out on strikes. This one was a tough pitch, though, right on the corner, both at the letters and outside. So, okay. Mike Trout walks. Mike Trout steals. Jorge Soler singles. It's first and third. First and third with one out. This is the scenario that the Angels of last year could never convert. And Travis d'Arnaud, who I have not been impressed at all with him this season, at all. He's a defensive catcher, a veteran catcher, but he's had a couple games this year where he's had pass balls, he's messed up things behind the plate, hasn't been an above average defender, certainly has not been above average at the plate at all. And in my opinion, the bat that set the tone for this being a frustrating game. First and third, one out, and you take a fastball right down the middle. Come on, man. Come on, man. What is that? Like, there's just no excuse. With one out and a runner on third base, the number one goal is to put the darn bat on the ball. And you check swing, take a called third strike on a fastball down the middle. Infuriating. Infuriating. We've had horrible at-bats the last couple of games, right? It's easy to just look at the results and say, again, we've already talked in previous shows about this whole solo home run thing, but this is not a team that's swinging for the fences, and that's the issue. Just awful at-bats, man. Getting behind in counts every single at-bat this game. And then in the biggest at-bat of the game for the Angels up to this point, and it ended up being the biggest at-bat of the game for the Angels, d'Arnaud takes a strike right down the middle. Shanuel comes up after that. What does he do? He strikes out on a splitter that basically rolled to the plate. So that stretch right there, those back-to-back at-bats, probably the two worst at-bats of the ball game. And they were in the biggest moment of the ball game. Right? And so despite Kikuchi, who there were some doubters, some questions being asked about, hey, is this the ace that we went and signed? He was great tonight. He was great tonight. And shout out to him, even after that tomfoolery in the top of the fourth from d'Arnaud and Shanuel, specifically d'Arnaud. What does Kikuchi do? He walks the leadoff guy, Corey Seager. Obviously, you got to be careful with him, and he was very careful with him, despite going to 1-2. Didn't really put a pitch close after that. But despite that, what does he do after that? Strikes out Josh Young, gets Garcia, and strikes out Pillar. Boom. So this was the response that we've seen from the lineup, kind of responding when the pitching has struggled earlier in the season so far. This was the reverse. A starting pitcher picking up his lineup that's done nothing for him. And then in the top of the fifth, earlier in the season, this is typically where you'd see this team maybe create something. And you have the guy to do it in Kyron Paris, but unfortunately he strikes out. We know Joe Adell and Tim Anderson, I'm sorry, they're good for nothing. I know Joe Adell added the torpedo bat today, and obviously did get a hit, but he's still good for basically nothing so far this season. Kikuchi, what does he do? 1-2-3 fifth. What do the Angels do? Lead off hit with Taylor Ward. 1-2-3. Rengifo lines out, and then it's a Trout strikeout and a Soler strikeout. Strikeouts everywhere, man. And so, yes, Kikuchi gives up a run in the sixth. And then, yes, Ron Washington makes an extremely questionable decision and takes out Kikuchi in less than 80 pitches thrown in the bottom of the seventh. The guy gave up one run on 79 pitches through 6 innings, and he's out of the ball game. And you bring in Reed Detmers. And unfortunately, there's a lot of hope that this guy can turn it around. But like Joseph says here, Detmers so far 2025 at times has been an automatic run for the other team. And he gives up 2 back-to-back doubles. Jonah Heim, Higashioka. I don't even know if I said that right, I'll be honest. Back-to-back doubles, gives up a run. And then in the 8th, Detmers only gave up 1 run. Then in the 8th, Johnson comes in. Tough spot. You're already down 2-0. And he was not good. Gets a fly out, but then double, single, gets a strikeout, single. 4-0 Rangers, ball game, over. And it was over once it was 2-0. It was over the second Detmers comes in the ball game and gives up that run. Because this game, you knew based on what d'Arnaud did in the 4th, based on there being no response in the 5th, no response in the 6th, you knew that this was an Angels 2024 performance, right? So it's frustrating knowing that this was one of those games where you can turn the TV off, right? And so when you have a game where you strike out 11 times, you have 5 hits, 2 of them come from Soler, of all people. He's the one getting you base hits. But Rengifo, 0 for 4, 2 strikeouts at the 2-hole. Mike Trout, he hit a couple home runs in a couple games in a row, right? And suddenly people cared about the Angels. But now he's back to striking out a bunch, and he's not getting any base hits. 0 for 3, 2 strikeouts. d'Arnaud, 0 for 4 with the hat trick, including the worst at-bat of the game. Joe Adell goes 1 for 3, thank goodness. Kyron Paris, 1 for 3. Shanuel, 0 for 4 with a strikeout. It's frustrating. It's frustrating. And the biggest thing here, like people were saying that I didn't even mention yet, a lot of people saying in the comment section, not only does Ron make multiple questionable decisions in terms of taking Kikuchi out on less than 80 pitches when he's only given up 1 run, but Reed Detmers is the choice, and he's not been good. You think you'd maybe want to change it up. You have a lefty that goes the first 6. Maybe change it up and throw in the righty. I would have been fine with Ryan Johnson in that situation. Call me crazy. Change it up a bit. Instead, you throw in Reed Detmers, not that much of a switch from Kikuchi, and they had a run. He was taken out way too early. The guy they replaced him with, not the right guy. You bring in Ryan Johnson, he doesn't get it done. So you go 0 for 3 in terms of your pitching decisions. Or 0 for 2, Detmers and Johnson. But the biggest cardinal sin committed by Ron Washington today that I haven't even brought up yet is the fact that d'Arnaud is hitting 5th. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? The guy is now hitting 091, but he's hitting 5th today. I get it. Kyron Paris hasn't been ripping the cover off the ball the last couple of days. But this guy, Kyron Paris, is still, even after a 1 for 3, he's hitting 366 with a 1263 OPS. And he's 2 slots below d'Arnaud. For what reason? It's not a lefty-righty thing. It's certainly not a speed on the bases thing. Kyron Paris is, right now, a better contact hitter, power hitter, situational hitter, base runner. And he's a young guy, so you can play the future with him too, right? Why in the world is he hitting 7th and d'Arnaud's hitting 5th? Makes no sense. And so you deserve to have a situation where, at the very least, if Kyron Paris is up, was 1st and 3rd, and 1 out, at the very least, he's hitting a weak ground ball and maybe he's able to beat out a double play. Or screw it. At the very least, he's swinging and missing on strike 3 instead of watching it right down the middle. Frustrating. And that's why I'm 14 minutes in and I haven't even said a player of the game. I haven't even taken the break yet. This was the first time in a while where I felt frustrated watching an Angels game while at the same time feeling like I didn't even need to watch the Angels game. Because you knew pretty early on this was not going to be a game the Angels were going to compete in. And that is not a good sign because that's the only thing we can't have. This team is still 9-7. They still can they still can go over 500 on the road trip if they win the last 2 games of the series. We're still fine in terms of the grand scheme of things. But the fact that we are showing signs now of last year's team is what's frustrating. And I haven't even talked about the 3 errors yet. Good God. I'm going to take my first break here. When I come back, I'll talk about the errors. I guess we'll talk a little bit more about the struggles of the lineup. And we'll look forward to the remainder of the series because there's still an opportunity for this team to have this be a successful road trip, right? And there's people rightfully saying, is this team tired? They played 3 home games of their first 16. Ridiculous. They've got 2 more, right? Ridiculous. So I know this team is tired. Thank goodness Zach Neto's coming back. Boy, do we need him. I don't care if he's on the verge of come back. Bring him back now, man. Bring him in the dugout in the clubhouse, even if he's not ready to play yet. We need a spark, right? Not Rendon going in the locker room, in the clubhouse. But it's frustrating. We're going to take our break. When we come back, we'll talk about the rest of this game. We'll look forward, and we'll have a little bit of debate. Is it the road trip? Is that what's contributing to this? And are we still okay as a team? I think we're fine, but it's frustrating, and there's signs that it's not fine. So we're going to take our break, and we'll be right back on the Locked On Angels Postcast. Now, today's show is brought to you by FanDuel. The NBA playoffs they're here. I mean, technically almost here in the sense that the play-in games tonight are not officially playoff games, but they basically are, right? And FanDuel is giving new customers an incredible way to get in on the action. Right now, when you join FanDuel and place your first $5 bet, you'll get $250 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Now, I do not bet on the NBA. I don't bet on sports, period, anymore. I work for an NBA team, so I'm not allowed to bet on the NBA, but I'm not betting on anything right now, right? But when I did, especially when it was legal to bet in other states, when I was in New York, I was using FanDuel. I love how FanDuel makes betting so easy, whether it's picking my favorite team or diving into player props, from three-pointers to steals to assists. FanDuel has so many ways to bet your favorite player props. Plus, after the game tips, you can even combine live prop bets into same-game parlays for a chance to win big. So don't miss out. Head to FanDuel.com and claim your $250 bonus bets today. And today's show is also brought to you by PrizePicks. Basketball and hockey playoffs, like I just said, they're heating up, and there's no better way to turn your sports knowledge into real rewards than with PrizePicks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy. And I'll be honest, they kind of set me up here because I've got both of them, but I love both FanDuel and PrizePicks. They're both great, right? So with PrizePicks, you simply pick more or less on at least 2 player stat projections, and you're in. You can even combine players across sports, basketball, hockey, baseball, and more for your chance to win up to $2,000 or 2,000 times your cash. For example, this week, you could pick Doncic to have more than 28 points and Jason Tatum for more than 8 rebounds. Or in hockey, you could have Connor McDavid for more or less than 1 goal and Austin Matthews for more than 5 shots on goal. What I love is how easy it is to set up your lineup in under 60 seconds. And they even run cool promos like Taco Tuesday, where they discount player projections up to 25%. So download the app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONMLB to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, run your game. Back here live on a frustrated edition of the Locked On Angels Postcast. Angels 0, Rangers 4. And boy, did this game feel like an Angels game last year in 2024. Questionable decisions from Ron Washington, a solid start from Yusei Kikuchi, wasted by no hitting, no life from the offense whatsoever. Questionable lineup coming in, horrible at-bats, the bullpen wasn't good, and the Angels fall 4-0 in the series opener. Joshua here saying, I'm frustrated. The Angels lost on my birthday. Well, happy birthday to you, Joshua, on Jackie Robinson Day. So shout out to you. Shout out to Jackie Robinson, of course, but frustrating. Frustrating game, right? And I have people in here that are certainly agreeing with me. People are frustrated with Ward being leadoff. That's something that, at times Ward's been hitting some deep bombs, but still not a leadoff hitter to me. Certainly an argument made to lead off Paris, right? At the very least, there's no reason d'Arnaud should be hitting 5th, and that came back to bite Ron Washington in this one, as did the multiple pitching decisions that he made that were all pretty bad. But just a reminder, this team coming off a game where they strike out 16 times, they don't get a single walk, they only hit a couple solo home runs. Today, no solo home runs, and it's ironic. I said it on the last show, hey, at the very least, this team shows that they can hit home runs even on a bad night. Well, not tonight. No home runs. I don't even know if they had 1 extra base hit on a Jorge Soler double, but other than that, just 4 base hits, that 1 double. They had 3 errors in the field. They only get on base via the walk twice. They still strike out 11 times. The starting pitcher, he absolutely scorched this lineup. 6 innings, 3 hits, 2 walks, 9 Ks. Garcia, he gives up just 1 hit in 2/3 of an inning. And then from there, it was over. It was over. The last 2.5 innings, the Angels didn't even try. They didn't even get on base. It was ridiculous. They just threw in the towel. And that's something you have to question Ron Washington on, when his number one thing is he's supposed to be an energy guy, a culture guy, and his team gave up on him tonight. And because he gave up on his starting pitcher too early, and he gave up on his young guys and Kyron Paris and stuff when he's got d'Arnaud hitting 5th. But with all that being said, we will look forward briefly to tomorrow's game. Obviously, the Angels still an opportunity to have this be a successful road trip. You win the next 2 games, you're still 5-4 on the road trip, which would be a huge success. Interesting matchup tomorrow. Soriano against Corbin, certainly giving Soriano the advantage there. He's 2-1 with a 2.7 ERA. Corbin, no decisions yet, but a 6.75 ERA. Give me Soriano in this one, especially because I love the matchup against Patrick Corbin, a lefty here that doesn't throw very hard right now, and you're going to have a bunch of righties in this lineup. You know that. You're going to have Ward. You're going to have Rengifo switching. You're going to have Trout. You're going to have Soler. You're going to have Ohapi, hopefully. You're going to have Paris. You're going to have Odell. You're going to have Newman or Anderson, who are useless. But you're going to have a bunch of righties against the lefty and Corbin. I'm liking our chances. I picked us to win this game and then lose the next 2. Revisionist, call me whatever. I'm saying we win tomorrow. Just looking at the lineup, I didn't really think it through in terms of Corbin against the righties. Probably should have done that coming in. So give me the Angels tomorrow. If they better respond tomorrow, because if they don't, then there's going to be some negativity as we end this series and go into a really tough homestand against the Giants. So need this win tomorrow. I hope we can get it. After tomorrow on Thursday, it'll be Jack Kohanowitz against Kumar Rocker. That's an interesting matchup. Rocker not been good so far at all in 2025, 0-2 with a 7.94 ERA. So you have the advantage starting pitching-wise, both games, the rest of the series. So darn it, if this offense shows any sort of life, you can say the Angels would be the favorites in both games, right? It's not like the Rangers offense was phenomenal in this one, just 4 runs, just 1 through 6 innings, right? So I'm going to pick the win tomorrow, and based on what we see energy-wise, I might still pick the win on Thursday, right? That's going to be my take on the matter. Still an opportunity to make the whole road trip a success. And imagine, again, if you turn the loss here and the back-to-back losses into a 2-game winning streak, going back home, you have the weekend at home against a great team, but then you'd be 11-7, and you've had a great start to the season. Still absolutely an opportunity there. TFL, there was a turning point. If you missed it, it was the Darno taking a fastball right down the middle. If you need a player of the game, people are asking me for it, so we'll give you a player of the game.
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
It's got to be the Rangers starting pitcher. I mean, Tyler Wall, he was great in this one, right? Just fantastic, right? And he didn't really get many opportunities last year, just started 3 games for the Rangers. But in 4 starts so far this season, he's already 3-0. An 0.92 ERA, 21 strikeouts in 19 2/3 innings. The whip is 0.86, and he was phenomenal in this game. I mean, like we said, 6 innings pitched, gives up just 3 hits, 9 strikeouts. He had 2 walks. The Angels really never threatened outside of getting that runner on third base, which was partially due to a walk and stolen base from Mike Trout, right? So other than that, he was basically perfect. The Angels were lifeless, and he certainly got some help from a bad Angels lineup. But he's the player of the game, absolutely. The stinker of the game is Ron Washington, and the turning point we already discussed. But with all that being said, I know there's a lot of negativity in this one, but shout out to everybody in here. You know how much I appreciate you guys. We'll turn it around. We have an advantage tomorrow on the mound. Soriano, he's going to be great. You know he's my guy. I know he's your guys. He's your guys' guy as well. So Soriano's going to pitch well. I like our lineup, a bunch of righties against Corbin. Give me an Angels win tomorrow. You know I'll be back here live right after the game as always. So if you haven't already, leave a like, leave a comment, and we'll be back here tomorrow to turn things around. Catch you tomorrow, everyone. Take care. Shout out to Jackie Robinson. Always got to celebrate him. Obviously, everything he's done for baseball, for people like myself, for people like everybody in this world, but especially people like myself. Shout out to Jackie Robinson. Shout out to all of you, and we'll be back here tomorrow. Go Angels. Let's turn around.